let it roll away, roll away, roll away, roll away. Stay tuned, we got a lot to say. Consistently rolling.
Welcome back to Consistently Rolling. I'm Lisha. As you can see, we've been moving through something very intentional this season. We've spoken about awakening, we've talked about grounding, and learning how to stay present while your inner world changes, right? And today we're talking about why that grounding really matters. It's because there are parts of this journey that doesn't get talked about enough. The parts where awareness feels super heavy, when clarity, it doesn't feel peaceful at all. And where staying, it takes much, much strength. See, in the last episode, that wasn't random. It wasn't just about calming down or even slowing life. It was about stability. Because when your spirit wakes up faster than your life can support, you don't float. You really just break or fracture. See, ancient cultures understood this. In African traditions, grounding came before initiation. Indigenous cultures, see, the body was prepared before vision. The Hebrews thought order came before revelation, and Eastern practices, breath came before insight. See, grounding wasn't optional, it was protection. And that's why we stayed there first, because it was important to get the foundation so that we can learn to stabilize. See, there are moments in awakening where you can see more than you can hold. You recognize patterns and see cycles and understand pain, yours and others, just differently. And for some people, that can feel freeing. But for others, it feels overwhelming. And that's because awareness doesn't remove the pain, it just names it. And naming pain can feel very heavy when you've already carried a lot. See, this isn't new. It isn't weakness, and it isn't modern. Ancient texts talk about despair openly. In the book of Psalms, David speaks about how being tired of life, and Job questions the meaning of existence under suffering. Ecclesiastes, he wrestled with whether life feels empty. And even in African oral traditions, they tell stories of elders losing will before being restored by community. Even prophets collapse under the weight of awareness. The human mind has always struggled with understanding outpaces support. You see, most people don't want to stop existing. They just want the pain to stop, the pressure to ease, the noise to just get quiet. And historically, cultures understood this. They didn't call it failure. They called it imbalance. And imbalance doesn't correct the shame. It was corrected with grounding, rest, and even reconnection. See, the danger came later when silence replaced support. And I think we're getting out of that. See, one of the most dangerous shifts in modern life is how private suffering has become. When pain has no language, questions have no space, when endurance becomes lonely. In many cultures, the community noticed first. They intervened with presence and not punishment. But today, we often wait for words instead of watching behaviors. And avoidance becomes the norm. See, I was able to witness this long before I understood it. As a child, I witnessed someone reach that edge. I didn't have words for it then. I didn't understand despair. I just knew something was wrong, and that moment stayed with me. And it was not because of fear, but I had questions. Then years later, I understood. Life layers pressures, responsibility stacks, grief compounds, and identity shifts. And strong people reach limits too. Strength isn't immunity, it's endurance, and endurance needs support. Samson, excuse me, y'all, is often taught as a story of failure. But historically, it's a story of imbalance. See, he had strength without structure, purpose without grounding, and a calling without reset. And Hebrews thought that mattered. Strength without support becomes dangerous, not because the person is weak, but because the weight is unsupported. And then there's Jesus in the garden. See, this part is often misunderstood, or should I say, I didn't have a clear understanding for it. See, the struggle wasn't about wanting to leave life. It was about whether to continue carrying the weight of what was coming. When Jesus says, "Let this cup pass," he's not asking to disappear. In the ancient Hebrew understanding, the cup symbolized responsibility, destiny, and suffering tied with purpose. So what he was really saying is there another way to carry this weight? And that's not weakness at all. That's really awareness. And even then, he pauses, he breathes, he asks for support, he grounds himself. He doesn't bypass the weight. He prepares his body and spirit to carry it. That's not escape. That's presence in its rarest form. This is why grounding matters. When the mind runs towards extremes, the body needs something solid, some type of breath, water, a touch, a routine, a presence. See, grounding doesn't fix everything, but it buys you time. And time, that saves lives. Because there are moments when grounding alone just isn't enough. And the weight feels heavier than your capacity can even hold it quietly. And in those moments, Connection matters. Talk to someone you trust. Reach out to a friend, a family member. And if you don't have that person right now, talk to someone who doesn't know you at all. Sometimes it's easier to speak when there's no history attached to the words. See, there are trained listeners all over the world whose role is to help people stay present without overwhelming moments. In the United States, you can call or text 988 if you feel like life is overwhelming you. And if you're somewhere else, there are local health services that you can connect with that has a confidential support. You don't need to have the perfect words. You just need to connect. You can always reach out to me here. I will message you back. I know this episode is heavy, and it's heavy because it's honest and not because it's hopeless. You don't awaken to disappear. You awaken to live differently. And see, grounding exists to help you stay while life rearranges itself. I came across something recently that stopped me in my tracks. It said, a busy mind wears the body down. A still mind, it restores it. And a quiet mind reconnects us to something way deeper. And when I heard that, it made sense why so many of us feel exhausted, even when we're not doing more than usual. It's not just life. It's the noise, the thinking, the processing, the constant awareness without rest. When the world is shifting and your mind never gets quiet, the body pays for it. See, this is why grounding is very, very necessary. And it's not because you're weak, and it's because we've carried so much and we do it alone. Sometimes we don't know who to talk to. Please reach out to somebody. The next episode, we're stepping back to the beginning, the creation story. And it's because when life feels heavy, understanding where we came from helps us understand why staying matters. See, creation isn't just about how the world began. It's about why life keeps choosing continuation. I hope this episode reached whoever it needed to reach. I understand how life can be. This is Consistently Rolling. I am Lisha, where real life keeps moving, and so do we.